I want to talk to you about religion in light of new physics, new theory of entanglement, robust entanglement. Uh, there are many things that have happened over the last 5,000 years, 6,000 years, prophecies that speak to this new physics. Very briefly, the new physics describes a passive environment. There are no collisions. It's things orient themselves passively. They just happen to be in a certain frame of reference, and then if they find symmetry, they create a field between them. Something is created from nothing. Well, this notion itself, something created from nothing, is a notion of God. But this process occurs instantly, okay, over any distance, across the vast recesses or stretches of space, instantly. And this is different than the electrochemical or action potential biochemical processes that occur in our bodies and with regard to probably mostly our senses. So there's a process in this new physics that is instant, and then all the known biochemical processes that are very slow in comparison. So cognition changes and religion changes. We're able to describe things like faith, watching ourselves. So in this light, faith is something that everybody has. It's not something that you go to, you must find. It's not something that you must search for. It's not something that you need to be afraid of. It's just a natural process that we all have. It's this, as much as someone or anyone is aware of these instant processes and then can look or watch, if your senses, if you meditate or if you sit still, the monks do this, Buddhist monks, but many people meditate, they take yoga, and as you slow your mind down, you begin to watch, you can gain control of muscles and probably nervous impulses, things like this. But this is what religion calls faith. So it's not something that is inhuman. It's something that we all have. Prayer becomes a tool. If you become good at meditation, you can direct or focus your mind to do certain things. And that would be prayer. So it's important to, in learning how to use and see and feel, use your body like an instrument, you would pray. Okay, that's just the one part that we're blessed to be able to do. But entanglements, they create everything we do, we see. And entanglements occur in pairs, okay? Now, your cerebrum just happened to be situated in pairs. And so your intercerebral space could be termed an entanglement haven, an E-haven, or heaven, if you will. This is also a religious notion or term. It's exciting because since entanglements create everything we see, everything that we experience, from building rockets to whatever, we don't realize that what we're doing when we're doing these things. But anything that moves is entangling. Okay, today we burn fuel, propellant, rocket fuel, and we create a thrust. But we're doing this blindly. We will quickly today and in the future we will orient atoms and travel faster than speed of light. As we can travel as fast as we can engineer the distance into our rate densities. So if we want to travel 10 times the speed of light, then we incorporate huge distances into our entanglement fields that are being produced that then capture atoms and systems of atoms. So what I've noticed in my life is that just being in tune with myself, I recognize time and places that that I feel, just my belief that God is present, and or angels, but that God is present, that He's listening, and that He provides feedback. And I think it's important to recognize in church, in the Catholic Church, the fear that is being produced to pray, to have faith, to believe in God. But see, God is everything and everywhere. If God is this thing that's created from nothing, or God in nature, then He's everywhere. Now, this presence that I felt in my life, that's a supreme being. That's God, the supreme being. So the Catholic Church is a huge organization, and they benefit from creating fear so that they can control outcomes. But what I want to tell you about in this physics and in the physics with regard to meditation and feeling close to God is that the processes are very subtle, okay? The normal process of biochemical processes that are occurring in the brain, the cerebrum, they breathe back and forth like this, okay? This is an elastic principle, all right? And there you have 3 hard structures in the inner ear, so you have 3 different motions of these, fast, slow, and probably very slow, okay? Anyway, so this is kind of what's occurring, to enable us to think and to watch our senses and to do things. But our brain is a fancy balancing organ, okay? What that means is that it's constantly keeping track of the things that are around it as if, having to, like a spinning top, having to stay afloat, okay? And there's a floral presence that we talk about in other videos that interferes with this intercerebral exchange, okay? And when it interferes with this intercerebral exchange, it produces ischemias or flexions, muscle tightness, okay? And that stops this intercerebral breath, which basically doesn't stop thinking, but it stops our ability to orient ourselves and to balance and to feel like we know what's going on. Well, of course, the flora that innervates all of your tissues in your lifetime, it benefits from you feeling unbalanced because you create fight or flight responses or mini fight or flight responses, which produces sugar, and flora eat sugar. So your body has evolved alongside this flora, and the flora has taught your body how to feed it. But what I'm trying to get at is that the Catholic Church benefits, and all churches benefit from producing fear because it throws you off balance, and you do not look to self to find God, but you have to look to them. But the part that's more shameful than that is that finding God is so subtle. You need to release these tensions, okay? So no fear is good. You cannot have fear to have presence to find God.